Hello, geometry students. Today we are going to start chapter 7, which is on proportions and similarity. In chapter 7-1, we are going to learn about ratios and proportions. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities using division. The ratio of quantity A and B can be expressed as A to B, or you can write it as A to B with a colon, or you can write it as A over B in fraction form. Let's take a look at our examples. In number 1, there are 182 girls in the sophomore class of 305. What is the ratio of girls to boys? So I need girls and boys on the bottom in that order. In this problem, they give me 182 girls. They do not give me the boys, they give me the whole sophomore class of 305. So I need to find my boys by taking 305 minus 182. My fraction is 182 over 123. Can that be reduced? No, it can't. So you can leave that fraction the way it is, or if you want to write it, 182 colon 123. Either one of those would be great. Let's look at problem number 2. The length of a rectangle is 8 inches and its width is 5 inches. What is the ratio of the length to the width? So I need length on top and width on the bottom. Now go find your numbers. Don't just assume that the first number goes on top. Yes, you're right, the first number does go on top, but it represents the length. We need width on the bottom, and yes, the width is 5. So there's our ratio. Do not change that to a mixed number. You can also write it as 8 colon 5. Either one of those answers is great. In number 3, they give you the ratio of the sides of a triangle are 8, 15, and 17. It says its perimeter is 480 inches. Find the length of each side. Now those are not actually the sides there. You see that? 8, 15, and 17. That perimeter would be 40, and that's not correct. What they've done is they've multiplied all those sides by something. We don't know how much. So I'm going to take 8x and 15x and 17x, and I'm going to equal to 480. Okay, I'm going to get 40 x's is 480. Divide by 40, x is 12. Now that's not what they're asking for. They're asking for the sides. So now you got to go and find your sides. It's 8 times 12, 15 times 12, and 17 times 12. And so I'm going to get 96. I'm going to get 180. And I'm going to get 204. And I could do a double check here. I could add those up and see if they give me my 480. But now I should write the sides of the triangle are 96 inches, 180 inches, and 204 inches. That should be my answer. All right, let's move on to the next page. A proportion is an equation that states two ratios to be equal. So here's a proportion. I've got a ratio AB, and it equals CD. If you look at the last sentence there, in a proportion, the cross products are equal. So I'm going to cross multiply. A times D equals B times C. So I'm cross multiplying. So let's solve the following proportions. Okay, a lot of you are digging in and you're saying I'm going to take 6, I'm going to 4x minus 5, and then I'm going to take 3, and I'm going to multiply that by negative 26. You're right, and you can do it that way. Another way you could do it is look at each side and say, can I reduce? Reduce that, then maybe you don't have to use your calculator. That's negative 13. And then this will be 3. So now I don't have to use my calculator. 3 times 4x minus 5, and then 3 times negative 13. I'm cross multiplying. I get 12x minus 15 equals negative 39. Add your 15. I hope you're working this. 12x equals negative 24. X equals negative 2. Let's look at our second example. Right away you look at that and you think, oh boy, that looks like it's going to be a challenge. Can't reduce. No, this x does not cancel with that x. Can't reduce. So go ahead and cross multiply. X times x equals x plus 3 quantity times x minus 8 quantity. Oh boy, you're saying getting a quadratic term, x squared. FOIL that. X squared is your first, minus 8x plus 3x minus 24. Yeah, the x's are going to cancel. X squares are going to cancel. Get them together. See that? Like it's to be a 0. This is 0 here. 0 equals. That's a negative 5x. Oopsie, minus 24. Move your 5 to the other side because you're positive 5x equals, that's negative 24. Divide by 5, yes. Don't panic. All right, let's move on to our word problems. Mayor Hefty conducted a random survey of 200 voters and found out that 135 approved of the job she was doing. If there are 48,000 voters in Mayor Hefty's town, predict the total number of voters who approved of the job she is doing. All right. It says write and solve a proportion that compares the number of registered voters and the number of registered voters who approve of the mayor's job. Okay, so I have 200 voters and 135 of them approve. So I have 200 voters and 135 approve. And I'm just going to abbreviate. Setting up proportions, I'm going to write an equal sign. Now, when we go to actually vote, there are 48,000 voters. And we are looking for who approve. That's the X. Yes, you're saying, oh, reduce. Yes, good idea. If you want to go that route, reduce. I just took my calculator at this point and cross multiply. I took 200. X equals 135 times 48,000. Oops. So I took 200. X equals, dividing by 200, 32,400 voters approve. We need to be more particular about our answer. They're not just going to write voters, those are voters who approve. All right, let's take a look at our last one. If a 6-foot post casts an 8-foot shadow, 6-foot post has an 8-foot shadow, how tall is an antenna that casts a 60-foot shadow? So the 6-foot post has a shadow that's 8 feet long. So I have a 6-foot post and it casts an 8-foot shadow, and I'm abbreviating. So now that equals, how tall is an antenna that casts a 60-foot shadow? Now, do you see how easy this is? I can see it's going to go on the bottom because I got shadow on the bottom, so I'm going to write 60 here, and I'm looking for X. And again, if you want to reduce, hey, that's 3/4. Cross multiply. 4x equals 3 times 60. 4x equals 180. Divide 4 in there, and you'll get 45. The antenna is 45 feet tall. We need to be better in our word problems here. 45 feet tall really is not enough. We need to let everybody know that the antenna is 45 feet tall. We're working on communicating our mathematics in this class, not only being able to solve problems. All right, I look forward to seeing you guys in class tomorrow. Have a great night.